Most millionaires don't drive luxury cars. In fact, the most common car that millionaires drive costs about $20,000. So today we're discussing the most popular car among millionaires and the 5 financial principles that explain why so many of them buy it. I didn't know about one of these financial principles when I got my last car, and it ended up costing me thousands of dollars. But if you want to learn how much car you can actually afford so you don't make the same mistakes that I did, make sure to stick around for principle number 5 that helps break down the maximum amount you can spend on a vehicle based on your income. But before we dive into these principles, let's uncover what the average millionaire actually drives. According to a study by Ramsey Solutions, 61% of millionaires drive Hondas, Toyotas, and Fords, not luxury cars. Toyota is the most commonly owned among the three, including used Camrys and Corollas that you can find around the $20,000 price point. More specifically, the Toyota Corolla hatchback was listed as the cheapest car to own in 2026 based on depreciation, insurance, fuel, interest, and maintenance. Over 5 years, these costs add up to about $30,000. Compare that to another person's Mercedes G-Wagon, which can cost over $138,000 to own and operate over the same period, and that's not even including the purchase price. Which brings me to principle 1 that millionaires understand: the largest purchases are more expensive than you think. If you're looking to buy a home, the price on Zillow isn't the complete price. It's the price to obtain, not use. Let me explain. Let's say you saved up $200,000 for a down payment on a $1 million home. You make several $100,000 a year, so you assume that you can comfortably afford to pay off an $800,000 loan over a 30-year period. However, you forget to factor in yearly property taxes, interest payments, homeowners insurance, moving costs, roof repairs, plumbing issues, landscaping, pest control, and the rest of the laundry list that comes with owning a home. Most people don't know how much these random expenses will cost them every year before they make the biggest purchase of their lives. And cars work the same exact way. Have you considered that the oil change on a BMW will be twice as expensive as an oil change on a Honda Accord? Have you estimated what the sales tax will be? Dock fees? Title transfer fees? I think you get the point. But this is not me pointing the finger at you and saying, oh, you should have known better than that. How could you not think about this before spending tens of thousands of dollars? Because I learned this lesson the hard way just 2 years ago when I got my current car. This decision is embarrassing to look back on because I made this purchase before I was financially literate. My old car was on its last legs and I was spending hundreds of dollars on maintenance and repairs every month before I decided it wasn't worth the time, money, or effort anymore. So I figured, why don't I just lease the base model of a reliable, low-cost car? At the time, I was just starting my current job and I knew that my income would go up over the years, so I decided I could just buy it out with the money I'd saved up during the years I was driving it. So I went to my local dealership, traded in my piece of junk, and negotiated until I got a great deal on a 2024 Honda Accord. But I neglected to consider the true cost of driving this car, and I'm not even talking about the depreciation. I am talking about the cost to insure it. I just thought to myself, man, it's a Honda, I mean, how bad could it be? I called up every major insurance provider in California and the lowest quote I received was $400 a month. It literally cost me more to insure my car than it cost me to lease it with no money down. I naively did not consider at the time of the purchase how expensive insurance costs would be for a male under 25 years old in Los Angeles. Fortunately, this poor decision forced me to dive deep into personal finance, and now I'm here to teach you the lessons that I'm learning along the way. And now I follow principle 2, which has made it possible for me to save 20% of each paycheck. And that principle is living below your means. Living in Los Angeles, almost every car on the road is a BMW, Tesla, or Mercedes. Even though I live in a high-income area, many of those drivers are still living paycheck to paycheck. Meanwhile, many of the Camry and Civic drivers are secretly millionaires in disguise. But I wanted to learn how many of these luxury drivers are actually broke. So I did some digging and I found out that 40% of people making over $300,000 per year are living paycheck to paycheck. 40%! Meanwhile, 57% of Americans making under $50,000 are living paycheck to paycheck. Considering how high the cost of living is in today's day and age, I can rationalize someone making $40K and living paycheck to paycheck in Los Angeles. But $300K? These high-income earners do not have an income problem, they have a spending problem. The average millionaire knows this, and they're not even making $300K a year. According to Ramsey Solutions, only 31% of millionaires averaged an income of $100,000 a year over the course of their career, and one-third never made six figures in any single working year. But that didn't stop them from hitting a seven-figure net worth, because 94% of the millionaires studied said they live on less than they make. With that extra money that they aren't spending, they aren't just stashing it in their mattresses and hiding it from the world. Instead, they are consistently investing over a long period of time into the stock market. More specifically, 8 out of 10 millionaires invested in their company's 401k plan, and 3 out of 4 of those surveyed invested outside of company plans. The less they live on, the more they can invest, and the more they can let their money work for them. If someone spends every dollar of their paycheck, how can they expect to retire or pay for an unexpected medical bill? Living below your means can save the money you earn for when you need it the most, even if you make $300K a year. However, millionaires don't just understand how to live on less than they make, they also understand another key principle that many people disagree on. Put your time and energy into saving on the big purchases, not obsessing over the little ones. Obsessing over little purchases here and there while you have an $800 car payment is like trying to repair a leak in your roof while a meteor is headed towards your house. And we have heard online all the time from so-called money gurus that Gen Z is broke because they keep spending all their money on $15 avocado toast and $7 lattes. Wrong. But a car, one of the most expensive purchases you will make in your lifetime, can strip away your ability to even get that avocado toast in the first place. Time is the most limited and valuable asset that we have. Yes, it's important to live below your means, but millionaires don't dedicate their whole lives finding coupons for every item at the grocery store when they can make sure the major purchases that they make are within their budget. The fourth principle that millionaires understand is that building wealth is simple, but it's painfully boring. There is no award or public praise for creating a budget, living below your means, driving an average car, and consistently investing. Investing is so simple and so boring. But those 8 out of 10 millionaires wouldn't be where they are today if they didn't invest in their company's 401k plan. The most prevalent issue that I see every day on social media is that young adults are so accustomed to instant gratification that we're investing into speculative assets and making predictions on Polymarket instead of investing in our long-term futures. CFA Institute found that Gen Z owns a variety of investments, with cryptocurrency being the most common at 55%. Meanwhile, safer and longer-term investments like mutual funds were only held by 35% of Gen Z investors. We have it so backwards. Purchasing speculative assets is not an investment, it's a gamble. So if you can shut off that part of your brain that wants instant gratification, you can position yourself just like the average millionaire has. I understand that getting ahead financially feels very far-fetched in 2026. The average home price has more than tripled in America since 2000, and the cost of living has outpaced wages over the last several decades. The economy isn't working in our favor, but that doesn't mean our financial goals are completely out of reach. So if we want to become millionaires, we have to start investing like them too, no matter how delayed the gratification will be. Finally, the most influential and mathematically backed principle that millionaires follow that leads them to buying cars like Toyota Camrys is that they follow the 24-10 rule. The 24-10 rule stands for 20% down, 4-year term, and total transportation costing less than 10% of your monthly income. However, as I mentioned before, the cost of living has outpaced wages over the last several decades, and that includes car prices. The average new car price is approximately $50,000, and the average new car price in 2000 was about $20,000. Even if you account for inflation, the average new car price in 2000 in today's dollars would be $38,000. The 24-10 rule is a long-standing financial guideline that I believe is slightly outdated, so I have modified the rule to 24-15. 20% down, 4-year term, and no more than 15% of your monthly income. So for reference, if you make $50,000 a year, you can dedicate $625 a month towards transportation as long as you finance the car for 4 years and put 20% down. And if you make $100,000 a year, you can spend $1,250 on transportation. But don't think that these figures equal a monthly payment. This also includes gas, maintenance, and insurance as well. So if you don't want to spend $400 a month on your car insurance like me, make sure you check the going rates first. Millionaires know this rule well, and they refuse to let a car payment ruin their financial freedom. So if you were a millionaire, what car would you pick? A luxury Rolls-Royce, a comfortable upgrade like a BMW, or maybe just a used, low-mileage Toyota Camry? Let me know in the comments below, and while you're there, consider subscribing and checking out my last video about the best credit cards for beginners here. Thank you, my friends, for watching, and I will see you next time.